What confident leaders do before they speak. A lot of times we're so focused on what happens when we actually are presenting or whether we're speaking up, we often forget about the prep. And this is something I will tell you, full disclosure, that I have underestimated as well in my past. I used to be a very wing it kind of person. And let's face it, that is still my nature. I am not somebody that enjoys planning, but what I will tell you is a couple of stories related to times that I didn't prepare and how important preparing is, especially before you even speak. And there's nothing that replaces it. In fact, I know a very good friend of mine is an introvert, and she said that this replaces, well, not everything, but replaces a lot of things for her. I remember years ago when I was a corporate trainer at the Gap, and it was a great job. I loved it. I was really getting my groove for the most part. And I was doing kind of the same thing all the time. And so I felt really confident with that. Well, then I was asked to speak for a particular engagement. And truthfully, I came in late that night, the previous night. I was trying to find parking. It was one of those days where just the stars didn't seem to be aligning for me. And I admit I felt actually quite good about how the talk went in front of some big name leaders at the company. But after my boss asked me how I did, and I said, well, I think I did pretty well. And she said, well, we had some feedback that and she goes, it really wasn't your best. And it was a very hard thing to hear, especially because I was newer at my career. In my career, I thought I was doing really well. And in most of the situations, I was. But what this taught me, first of all, is that disparity gap between how you think you're coming across versus how you actually are coming across. So I thought I was coming across as confident, relevant, and put together. But apparently that just didn't land. My message didn't land, and it reminded me that I needed to prepare more. And specifically, that was the directive I was given. I'm not going to lie. They specifically said, you've got to come across better and figure this out. So the next time I did a training, boy, let me tell you, I prepared, I practiced, I rehearsed, I did all the things, and it definitely made a difference. It was like a total turnaround. And what was interesting and the huge learning for me was that it was simply about intention. I made a decision to intend for it to go well. And I was going to do everything I could to make sure that I was prepared. I knew the content, felt really good also about my delivery and all the things. So I will also tell you that as a result of that experience, I am now speaking for a living because that moment, I actually had a moment where I questioned, should I keep doing this? I got really down on myself. So I also want to tell you, believe in yourself. And I know it's easy to say that, but think about, what do you really love? Like in my case, I really loved training people and I wanted to do more speaking. So there was a definite motivation to do it and get really good at it. And particularly, of course, I had a boss at that time. So I wanted to make sure that I was doing a good job in her eyes as well. And one of the coolest things from that experience was about a year after that, I saw the big boss, my boss's boss's boss, in the cafe at the company. And she said, I hear you're killing it, Karen. You're doing such a great job. Kudos to you for going after it. So in hindsight, I was a little embarrassed that it sounds like more people than I thought knew that this didn't go so well. But I redeemed myself and I want to share some lessons with you. So this is really about what tips you can take in, not just prep, but I want to give you some very specific tips that you can use to help you with that prep. Before we do that, I would like to ask a favor. If you have enjoyed this podcast, or if you're listening to it today and you think, wow, I really like this, I would greatly appreciate you writing a review for me. Ideally, a 5-star review, but obviously I don't want to spoon feed that to you. But it so helps with making sure that other people know about the podcast. We are actually already in the top 3%, and we've been there for a few years now. but I would love and appreciate any more reviews that you would be willing to do. And it is so easy. I would love, love, love that. And I'm grateful, very grateful to you. Let's start with number one. When you're a confident leader, before you speak, number one thing is to get clear on the outcome. What do you want to happen as a result of this? And for those of you that are serving clients, this is a question I ask every client that I'm potentially going to work with is, what would success look like for you? Or some question similar to that. What would success look like? And if you are an employee somewhere, really being mindful that you come into that meeting with what you want and perhaps what your boss wants or whomever is involved. Who are the stakeholders and what do you want to accomplish during that meeting? And I will tell you, this is so powerful because energy is powerful. Our minds are powerful. And the more that we can envision the outcome as if it's already happened, even better. This is a great tip when you think about it, related to imagining that things have gone well. Think about the senses. Anything that can employ your senses will help the outcome that you want come to pass even quicker. So think about, how do you want to feel after this? What are people saying? And then what is that doing for your energy level, for even just bodily sensations, as weird as that might sound? I really mean, just how are you feeling? Are you excited? Is there sort of this newfound awakening in a sense in your body, like, ooh, you respond really well, or simply that you're smiling? That is a great form of energy. So being clear on the outcome, how you want to feel, how you want people to be talking about it after is number one. Secondly, they decide how they want to show up. This is also very powerful around intention. How do you want people to feel around you? This is a question that I often ask, related to the experience we create for somebody. We all create an experience. The question is it a good one or not? Or does somebody just feel neutral around us? But when I ask most people, the big response that I often get is, I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to feel seen. I want to be respected around them. And I want to have an experience where it's positive for sure. And a lot of times we don't realize how we're coming across. This is why I highly recommend recording yourself on video if you haven't done that yet. At least record yourself in an audio setting so you can hear how you sound, because this will give you great clues to how you're showing up. And if it's something that you even listen to or watch back and go, oh, that's positive, because you want to make sure that that is what people feel around you. So decide. In addition to that, it's not just positive, but you probably want to come across, at least if I were in this position, if I were you, coming across as certain, as calm, as composed, in control, as having a powerful presence. So think about and remember, how you show up is a direct reflection of how people will decide if they trust you, if they like you, and if they want to buy from you, whether it's an idea or whether it's a product or a service. The next one is they regulate their body. We are talking so much about this now in society, and I'm thrilled that this is happening, because this has always been around, but now we are giving it more credibility in the corporate space. So remembering that your breath and your posture have an enormous amount of things to do with how you come across. If we don't feel safe, our nervous system will be dysregulated, and then our brains will not be able to think as clearly. So remembering the fastest way to regulate your nervous system is to breathe. Use that breath to regulate the nervous system. Other ways that you can do this in advance to help you prepare is to dance. Any type of movement is very helpful for your body. If you envision a little girl twirling in a dress, like side to side, that's actually a fabulous technique to self-regulate. Breathing, of course, is a great one. Another one is lightly tapping on yourself, on your arms, could be around the temples, around your head, on the top of your head. Anything like that can be very helpful with regulation. The other thing is posture. So literally sitting up or standing taller, shoulders back, Hands at your sides, weight evenly distributed on both feet. That can be a tremendous thing combined with breath to make you really come across in the best possible way. So that was number 3. Number 4 is they choose simplicity over impressing. Too often what I see are people trying to prove themselves. And believe me, I was in that camp as well. Let's face it, we all want to be liked. By the way, side note, if you haven't heard of or read yet The Courage to Be Disliked, I would highly recommend it. I forget who the authors are, but it is an amazing, amazing book. It has 5 million something copies sold, and it is written so creatively between a sage and a younger person who's asking a lot of questions that a lot of us would probably be asking a sage. So it's really, really good. And if we remember, a lot of times that we have this tendency, so when I say proving energy or we're trying to prove ourselves, usually what that means is we're putting too much data out there. We're data dumping, we're vomiting information at people, and that is not going to be very helpful because we need to have simplicity. So let's take, for example, Steve Jobs and Apple. That is so simple, the way they do their marketing and their messaging and build their products. It is such a great example of simplicity, even though they are incredibly complex. They are incredibly complex, and yet they keep their messaging and their products simple and easy to use. The problem is if we try to complicate things, we try to sound smarter with fancy words and what I would call the cursive language words. Cursive language is when we are such an expert in our topic that we forget to see things through the lens of our audience. And that's where jargon comes in and terms that most humans don't understand unless they are in your industry. So simplicity is also about being plain spoken. The more plain spoken you can be, the better. All right, the next one is they trust their experience. This is an easier said than done one, but what I'd recommend you do to work on trusting your experience is to do that celebration portfolio that I talk about a lot. And that's simply write down all of two lists. One list is your accomplishments. You can use it over the course of your life, over the course of the last year, 6 months, whatever it is that would help you most. And write down the accomplishments that help you see the data that show that you have great experience. The other part of that list would be write down all of your, or as many as you can think of, character qualities. This is such a powerful thing. Write down, maybe you're particularly positive, you're particularly warm in how you come across. Perhaps you've got great humor, you've got great energy, things that are a little less tangible, but are definitely part of your experience that has helped you be successful in life. So when you can communicate both of those things, the experience literally with accomplishments and then also your experience with your character qualities, that can help you have a lot more clarity as well when you walk in, because you're automatically going to feel more confident. So it's so important that preparation creates presence. That's the thing I want to remind us here. A lot of these things that we're talking about connect directly to your presence, because when you are clear on the outcome, you're clear on what you're saying and how you're saying it, you are more free to really focus on the body language, the voice, the posture, the facial expressions, anything that stands there related to your delivery. So that would be my suggestion. So I want to remind you that it's truly about intentional prep. The most confident communicators do not rush into conversations hoping it goes well, which is what I used to do, to be honest, but they pause, get clear, and lead with intention. My suggestion is, before your next important conversation or presentation, ask yourself, what do I want the outcome to be? How do I want the other person to feel? And what's the clearest way to say this? That clarity changes everything. Now, if you liked this, and oh, I forgot to tell you, I have a new guide that you can get off my website called 3 Strategies to Speak Up in Meetings. I'm really proud of this, y'all. I love how practical it is. You'll get really specific tips, and you can go to my website, KarenLaos.com, KarenLaos.com. And the other thing I'm excited about is that I am hosting my first ever retreat happening at the end of April, April 30th to May 3rd in Santa Fe for executive women. And we have a total of 16 spots. We just started advertising it, and we have a lot of people interested. So grab your ticket. I will have that in the show notes as well. And I look forward to more conversations to come. In the meantime, have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, night, or whatever time it is where you find yourself. Thanks again. If you loved today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review. It helps other people find the podcast faster, and it certainly helps me. Remember, you too can stand out with unshakable confidence.